1998. That was the year I first started really getting into the WWE. That was the same year you saw this fresh batch of faces in the WWE really coming to life, really getting to show off their personalities. 1998, let me adjust this. 1998 was when the Attitude Era really began kicking into gear. It was a good year and a very memorable year for a number of reasons. It was the last year you saw Shawn Michaels. For a very long time, Shawn Michaels passed the torch. It's when you saw the formation of the D-Generation X that I remember with the Road Dogg and X-Pac and China. It was also the year and memorable for the reason that you finally saw Stone Cold Steve Austin rise to the top. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my review of WrestleMania 14. This is episode number 6 of my Road to WrestleMania series. And this was in Boston at the Fleet Center. This was in the time of your Stone Cold Steve Austins and this is when you saw The Rock really becoming a big name and Ken Shamrock and so on and so forth. This was a special year. This was, like I said before, the first year that I really got into wrestling. And WrestleMania 14, while it did not have the greatest of cards, was memorable for the fact of seeing Mike Tyson and Steve Austin in the ring together at the end of the show with Austin's hand in the air and Mike Tyson with the Austin 316 shirt. So, this WrestleMania was in Boston, March 29th, 1998. And you start off with a 15-man battle royal. By the way, I'm Zach. I don't know if I said that. But they had a 15-man battle royal where the winner would get a title shot at the next pay-per-view against whoever was the champions. And you had, I had to write these down, you had 2 teams from the Nation of Domination, D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry, Farouk and Kama Mustafa. Most of you will know him as the Godfather. This was the year that the Godfather made his debut as well. You had Bob Holly and Billy Gunn with Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express. You also had the Godwins, 2 teams from DOA, 2 teams from Los Fariquas, the Headbangers, the Quebecers, the Quebecers, Steve Blackman and Flash Funk, Sniper and Recon, Brian Christopher and Scotty 2 Hottie, Chains and Bradshaw, the Rock and Roll Express, Kurgan was out there, I think he had a partner, Skull and 8 Ball were out there, they were part of DOA. And then this match, and then you had your mystery team, the Legion of Doom, who just returned, and they had Sonny. Oh, Sonny in 98. It was a good year. But this match was chaotic. Trying to call this match was probably hell, for JR and King who were there. And to me, JR and King are the best tandem on commentary since Monsoon and Ventura. So, you had, the final 4 for this match ended up being Skull and 8 Ball, Holly and Gunn, LOD, and the Godwins. The match, this was not a great match, but it was a battle royal. This was all about building up the Legion of Doom back. They were having their issues before this, and then they showed up, came back with Sonny, but you ended up coming down to Holly and Gunn against the LOD. And Holly and Gunn, they held their own against the LOD. This was a, really big team. They came out with the new masks and new shoulder pads, and, they had Sonny looking great. And their entrance was different than what it used to be. They were more edgy. They became LOD 2000 at this show. But, Holly and Gunn had the advantage when it was coming down to them. But, LOD came back, power move after power move after power move. And finally, they managed to knock both of them over the top rope at the end to win this match. I didn't talk much about it because, like I said, there wasn't a lot of highlights. A lot of this was, there's 30 guys in this ring. It was hard to watch this match and really pick out anything specific. The Godwins, they looked good during the match. To me, the standout team, though, were Holly and Bart Gunn. So, but that was that, so they came back. Victory, they went on to face the New Age Outlaws and then ended up losing that. And shortly thereafter, the team broke up and they just vanished from the WWE. Then they showed some footage from the public workout for the WWE's WrestleMania week. They showed other parts of the WrestleMania week, Austin on Regis and Kathy Lee at the time. Yeah, Regis and Kathy Lee. It was a nice little vignette. So then we get, for the first time ever on a WrestleMania, a light and the only light heavyweight championship match at WrestleMania. And it was the first ever champ. I loved this guy when he was in the WWE. Taka Michinoku versus Aguilar. This match was great. These two, they flew around the ring, this corner to that corner, flying over the ropes. It was back and forth. It was fast-paced. I mean, these guys really went at it, and they were so respectful with one another. They showed good competitiveness, good sportsmanship throughout the match, and it was insane. There was lots of counters. You had Taka hitting this, missile drop kick. You had, freaking the Michinoku driver getting reversed into a Hurricanrana, which then got reversed into a power bomb. I mean, these guys were just like, they did things I had never seen before. And I was late to the game with the whole light heavyweight division, but Taka, would think they could have kept him around, but he kind of faded into the background, ended up with, Funaki, and they were a fun team. But finally you get, Taka hitting the Michinoku driver for the win. Both men showed respect to each other, after the match. This was a good match because they brought Aguilar from, I think he was in AAA at the time, so they brought him in to help promote other companies, and WWE used to do that a lot, bringing people in from other promotions or having their guys go into other promotions. Headbangers were like the Mid-South tag team champions or something during this time, but now WWE, they're very greedy with their talent and getting talent and so on and so forth. But at this point in time, it was nice seeing two guys, Aguilar from Mexico, Taka from Japan. Great match, great respect for one another. I respect both of them. Then you see Jennifer Flowers backstage interviewing The Rock. Now, anyone who knows wrestling knows The Rock is phenomenal on a microphone, in front of a camera. And he was no different even back then. And this is when The Rock was a heel. And him as a heel is probably some of The Rock's best work, because he was able to say whatever he felt, able to really lay into people unlike he does when he's a face, because even then he has to show just a little bit of restraint. But she's talking to him about what if he was the leader of this country, and he starts off right away in Rock fashion. Well, to be honest, Jenny, the term leader is beneath The Rock. I prefer him ruler. And then she asks him about, homeless. What would he do about, the homeless issue in America? And he's just straight like, as long as those pieces of trash stay off The Rock's freshly mown lawn, and he's in South Beach, he's like, everything be copacetic. He basically don't even care. She talks to him about reform and the judicial system. He doesn't care. He's the judge, jury, and executioner, and he says, and since he is the jury, 9 times out of 10, he'd be a hung jury if you smell what he's cooking. So The Rock is The Rock. I love Rock as a heel, but Rock is what he is now. So here's one of the better matches: Triple H with China from D-Generation X versus Owen Hart for the European Championship. This was definitely one of the better matches at this show. And this started off back at the Royal Rumble, shortly even before that. Triple H and them trying to stick it to Owen, and had been messing with him since the Survivor Series, the infamous Montreal Screwjob. And Triple H, with a little bit of help from Jeff Jarrett and a cane or a crutch, was able to get Owen out of the Rumble, and this just continued over the course of the next couple of months. So finally, we get these two in a match. Chyna's got to be handcuffed to Sergeant Slaughter, who was the commissioner at the time. And, of course, she didn't want to, but Owen had a great ovation. Both these men knew what they were doing. These two men went in this match. They told a good story. The match was it was good. They showed good wrestling. Oh my gosh, I can't seem to talk today. They showed good wrestling acumen. Here's a few instances. This match, Owen went straight for Triple H, just ground and pound, punches and punches and punches. Triple H would get, a few moves in, and it was back and forth. But eventually, Triple H got wise. Owen, who had the hurt ankle, was wearing a boot just 2 weeks earlier. Triple H finally goes, why don't I just work on his ankle? This is exactly what Triple H did. He starts working on the ankle, and the match, you saw the pace really slow down at that point. But of course, Owen being who Owen is, he kept fighting in this match. But, finally, Owen gets a sharpshooter in. Chyna finally manages to pull, Slaughter just enough. She gets Triple H's hand on the ropes. And this is when the match gets a little crazy. So Chyna, she ends up throwing some powder in Slaughter's face. Owen notices, and Owen's kind of looking down, talking to her. And then Triple H knees him from behind. The ref's down. I forgot how he got hurt. Oh, no. The referee's pulling Triple H back, and he's in his face. Owen tries to stand up, so Chyna gives Owen a low blow. Triple H comes in, pedigrees, and they get the win. After the match, Chyna's sitting there pounding on freaking Slaughter's face. I can't do this match justice. This match was a great match amongst what was a pretty good card. Owen and Triple H had really good chemistry. Of course, Triple H went on to become WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Sadly, Owen, not long after this, did pass away. Crossing my fingers, Owen gets to join the Hall of Fame. He's not going to this year, and that's a shame. I would like to be able to report on that. Oh gosh, Owen's going to the Hall of Fame. But it is what it is for now. We got the Freebirds, we got the Godfather, and we got Sting in the Hall of Fame this year. But I'm going to keep going on this. We're going to move on to the next match. Mixed tag team match. Mark Marrow and Sable against Goldust and Luna. Mark Marrow became jealous. They were a real-life couple. After Marrow came to the WWE in '96, they became a real couple. So they were real married. She became Marina Marrow. But he started, story-wise, became really jealous of Sable and her popularity that she was gaining. And she was actually working and becoming a better wrestler. She was sorry, the camera keeps moving. She was a good wrestler. And Goldust was Goldust and Luna was Luna. And this was only the third mixed tag team match ever at a WrestleMania. Of course, Sable comes out, gets a huge ovation. This match was literally built around Sable. Most of the match was Marrow and Goldust in the ring wrestling with each other. And, to their credit, both men know how to wrestle. You look back at Mark Marrow when he was in WCW as Johnny B. Bad. Dude knew what he was doing. He put on some great matches with Diamond Dallas Page and with other guys who were in the mid-card at the time. Especially his matches with Diamond Dallas Page. But, Sable would get a tag in. Luna would keep trying to get away. Finally, towards the end of the match, Sable gets in. She gets a hold of Luna, but Luna's quickly back in the ring. Goldust comes in to try to, tell her, get into the corner and tag him around. She punches him in the face. She was feisty, to say the least, during this match. But, uh-oh, I see a bug. I have to kill it. So, Goldust, he gets tagged in. She ends up nailing him. they're fighting some more. You get a TKO countered into a DDT by Goldust. And then finally, eventually, he hits TKO. Sable gets tagged in. She goes for the pin. Luna tries to splash her. Sable moves. Sable goes for a Sable Bomb. It gets countered. And then she goes for it a second time. Luna hits the Sable Bomb. She kicks out. So then she uses the TKO, which, to her credit, looked better than when Mero would do it. But she ends up getting the pinfall over Luna, gets the victory. Everyone's happy. You know, Mero tries to steal the spotlight by raising her hand. Everyone knew it was about Sable, and Sable only went on to become a women's champion and to look great. She had a great 1998. Tennessee Lee introduces Jennifer Flowers and Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett tries to put himself over. Jennifer Flowers was the ring announcer. And you got the Intercontinental Championship match between The Rock, who was with The Nation, and Ken Shamrock, who, up to this point, him and Rock, that every time they wrestled, really awesome matches. This match was a little different. This match was a little slower. Or not so much slower, but shorter. You know, you got Ken Shamrock, he sprints to the ring, and he dominated this match. You know, The Rock, he got a few shots in, but the majority of this match was all Ken Shamrock, and Shamrock was all over The Rock. And then the Nation would try to interfere. He'd make sure they weren't able to. But Shamrock, he grabbed a chair, was ready to hit The Rock, but he didn't. He ends up hitting someone in the Nation. The Rock gets the chair, and he just smacks it over Shamrock's face. Like, you would watch the replay, and it didn't hit him here, or it hit him right here in the face. I'm surprised he didn't break his nose. The Shamrock gets in the zone, and he starts suplexing the crap out of Rock, gets him in the ankle lock. Rock tapped out rather quickly. And you're like, oh, cool, Shamrock's won. But then the Nation ends up getting involved. And he starts suplexing them and then beating the piss out of them. He puts The Rock back into the ankle lock. And here comes Farouk running down. And he gets up on the apron. Shamrock's looking at him, and he just goes. Flips off The Rock and walks away. And because they were kind of in an issue. Rock was getting a huge head and whatnot. But he keeps him in the hole. Finally, some officials pull Shamrock off. They end up getting suplexed because Shamrock snaps again. They built and portrayed Shamrock to be this crazy lunatic. Basically because when he was in the UFC. I guess that messed his noggin up or something. But Shamrock goes off on the officials. There's confusion. And then the announcer says, the Intercontinental Champion, The Rock. They disqualified Shamrock, reversed the decision. So what does Shamrock do? He snaps again, runs after The Rock, who's being taken out on a stretcher, knocks him off, puts him in the ankle lock, and tries to break his ankle again. Then he takes the belt and just throws it at him. The match itself, about 10 minutes long, decent match. I wish they would have given him about 15, 20 minutes, but they didn't. It's whatever. But Shamrock, at the time, he was pretty good. I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed seeing The Rock. I love The Rock as a heel. I loved watching The Rock get his ass kicked. And then he went on to be WWE Champion that year. So, well, things work out. This was a weird match, if you want to call it that. This was the dumpster match for the World Tag Team Championships. And it was the New Age Outlaws being pitted against Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, otherwise known as Terry Funk. Road Dogg and Billy came out. They did, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. They're the tag team champions of the world. This was not a wrestling match. This match was a brawl. This match was the Outlaws getting their asses handed to them by Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, Terry Funk. But you really saw that Road Dogg and Billy could hold their own in this match. They managed to really get in it and were able to play rough with stuff like this. You hear the word hardcore thrown around. This match was not hardcore. This match was medium core. That makes no sense. But it was all right. It wasn't quite the hardcore match. Like, I've seen some really extreme looking matches, and this was not it. But it was good. It was a good paced match. They worked well together as as two teams facing with each other. There was a couple really great spots, like when Billy Gunn and Cactus are on the ladder. Why a ladder got brought in? But the dumpster, it's right here. The ladder's here. Freaking Terry Funk's fighting with Road Dogg, and he hits him with a cookie sheet or cookie pan. And, Terry Funk backs up into the ladder, and the ladder falls over, and Billy and Cactus fall into there. They end up going into the backstage area, and they end up battling back there. And you end up having them using a forklift. They put both Billy and Road Dogg on the forklift, drive them over to a dumpster. It was backstage, dumped them in there, shut the lids, and then used the pallet in the forklift to keep it shut. Very nice. You end up with new World Tag Team Champions, but they went on, lost it a couple weeks later, and the New Age Outlaws managed to stay champions for another 4 or 5 months. Then you hit your first of the 2 main events of the night. This match, I remember going back and watching this and really feeling scared of Kane. This is shortly, Kane, he debuted at the Bad Blood pay-per-view back in October of 97. And it was all built around The Undertaker burning his house down with his brother, his mother, and his father in there. And Kane somehow survived. But, Kane's brutally burnt, so he's wearing something that covers his skin completely and a mask. And you really, as a kid, you bought into those stories. I didn't. I was already a teenager, but seeing these 2 behemoths face to face and seeing how The Undertaker was a dominant force, he could fight anyone. He was usually the guy who you had a hard time dealing with. In this match, Undertaker was damn near outmatched throughout pretty much the entire thing. But, Pete Rose comes out. He's insulting the fans. He's supposed to be the, special ring announcer. And then he goes, introducing. Then Kane comes out with Paul Bear. And Kane tombstones Pete Rose. And the crowd goes insane because they hated Pete Rose because all he did was make fun of him. But then comes The Undertaker. In this dude's entrance, I showed Wayne the entrance. We have the Druids coming out. And finally they come out, with their torches, and then the Undertaker's music hits, and it's just like this dark blue, and he's coming out with the thunder and the lightning going, and I got chills watching this entrance. It's definitely one of my favorites of the Undertaker's entrances. But they get in the ring, and you have a WrestleMania moment just with them staring each other down. And Kane was taller than the Undertaker, and you never saw that. You always saw Undertaker was the bigger guy. Anyone he faced, he usually had a decent time taking care of business. But in this match, he immediately went for strikes on Kane, but Kane didn't even really stagger. He'd step back, go back forward, and it went on like that most of the match. Undertaker, of course, he got his offense in, but he, for the first time, was physically outmatched in a match against a guy who went through the entire WWE roster to get to The Undertaker, threw a swerve at him at the Rumble by coming out and knocking him down and costing him the WWE Championship, and then threw him into the casket and burnt the casket with him in it. Of course, Undertaker did his tricks, came back, everything was cool, but Undertaker and Kane clearly was overpowering The Undertaker. And Undertaker, of course, he kept fighting, and the match would go on. Undertaker would get some offense in, and then Kane would just come back and just knock him back down. And it just kept going that way the entire match. And then there's finally at a point, Undertaker, he's got Kane staggering, he knocks Kane out of the ring, and Kane's on the apron. Undertaker does his signature dive, where he dives over the ropes, and I showed this to Wayne, and Wayne's just all like, he dives over, Kane sidesteps him, throws him into the freaking table. Table just explodes under the Undertaker. I'd imagine that probably hurt. Yes, wrestling is scripted. I know. I'm not a mark. I know it's not real. But when you look at certain things, you're just like, that probably hurt. Undertaker gets tombstoned. He manages to kick out. He gets chokeslammed. He manages to kick out. Then he gets back on the offense. It took three tombstones for the Undertaker to finally beat Kane. This match was not a wrestling classic. I keep bumping into this. This was not a wrestling classic, but this was the type of match that you still loved because of the allure that it had, the build, the marquee value, the two brothers facing off, for the first time. And they've had many matches since, but this one always stands out to me the most. And it's definitely one of the best moments in WrestleMania history. So then you get a vignette of past Hall of Famers, like Classy Freddie Blassie and Ernie Ladd, I think, was one of them. And it was a nice little vignette. You can find it on the internet. It was for their Attitude Era. So, like I said, this was the start of the Attitude Era, although you probably could go back to 97, and that's when it really got going. But we finally reached the main event of this night. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the 1998 Royal Rumble winner, going on to face Shawn Michaels of D-Generation X, with Mike Tyson as the special guest enforcer. This really started when Tyson was announced as the enforcer, and he ends up aligning himself with D-Generation X, where they go on to humiliate Austin for the next 2 months. Tyson comes out to the ring, and he's out there, and he's just, the whole time he just keeps chop, like, we get it. You're in DX. Please stop. His chops were... I could just do this for 20 minutes.
So.
Wayne's watching me record this video. Say hi, Wayne.
Hi.
Austin comes out, and what I liked about when they came out in this video is they say hello to Wayne.
I don't know.
They had them only hear people when you see this stupidity that we have. Right? So they have it to where when they're backstage, you see them, that dun, 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 that low music. You've seen it before on other pay-per-views. Them backstage, when Shawn's coming out, he's like, "This is for you, Earl." I like Earl Hebner. He wasn't there. He was in intensive care. Don't know why. But Austin comes out. Of course, he gets a huge pop. Before Michaels is even come out, Austin's up in Tyson's face, and you could see Tyson lip, motherfucker. And Austin is here, son of a bitch, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like, they felt like there was legit heat, but you find out later that it's different. So this match, when Shawn comes out, he's got Kevin Dunn and the DX band playing him out to the ring. This match was not your typical Shawn Michaels match. For those of you who don't know, Shawn Michaels was out for about 4.5 years because he broke his back, supposedly. So there's rumors that it's not true, but to my knowledge, he was legit hurt. At the Royal Rumble, when he was facing Undertaker in the casket match, he gets tossed over the ropes, and his back, you could see him hit the small of his back on the edge of the casket, and he had issues the rest of the match. But he supposedly did something to one of the discs in his back, and he was forced into retirement. And he took off, man, my nose is itching. For 4.5 years, he took off from wrestling. So in this match, Shawn was slower. You could see throughout the match, Shawn was in legit pain. And this match was basically, this whole pay-per-view was built on Austin becoming the champion. and the official launch of the Attitude Era. Now, despite Austin having, to face HBK with HBK having the bad back and everything, it was still a really good match. You get Triple H interfering early, and then they get kicked out. You get Austin and Shawn fighting outside the ring. You get Austin being tossed over the steel guardrail. I mean, Austin getting his knee worked over, and Shawn was a champ. He really was. He went through with this match, and there's rumors that Undertaker told him backstage, if you don't push Austin over, I'm going to kill you. But, they were trying to say Shawn was forced into putting Austin over. But no matter what, the match happened. Austin, he got into this. Freaking Tyson was on the outside, and Austin would, keep looking at him, and then Shawn would keep taking advantage of that. But towards the end of the match, Shawn was keeping it slow. He's keeping it methodical. It was a back and forth contest, and you finally get Shawn hitting the diving elbow, and he gets up, holding the back, and he gets into the corner, and he starts, tuning up the band. Do, 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 and he goes for the super kick. Austin grabs it, spins him around, goes for the stunner. Shawn pushes him off. Then Austin comes back. Shawn goes for another super kick. Austin grabs the foot, spins him around, hits him with the stunner. Tyson slides in the ring. 1, 2, 3. It was a fast count, I won't lie, but no one else has to know that. And then Shawn loses the title to Steve Austin, and the Austin era begins. This match was good, but listening to JR's commentary, his 8-year odyssey, I mean, the way JR talked about this match, talked about the ending, made it sound like it was the greatest thing ever. And for a lot of fans, myself included, to see this, it was great. Austin for the old winged eagle belt. Oh my God, I'll get to talking eventually. I can fix it. But seeing this match and seeing Austin with that belt and the iconic moment of him up on the ropes with the belt, and then Tyson with the Austin 316 shirt, and then HBK gets up. He's like, "You're with us." And he gets mad, and he shoves Tyson, and he tries to hit Tyson, and Tyson blocks it and punches him in the face. It was such iconic moments. Iconic moments like this that made this pay-per-view so awesome. 1998 was a year of firsts. Austin's first title reign, The Rock's first title reign, Mankind's first title reign. It was the first time you were able to see, two brothers face off against each other. WrestleMania this WrestleMania was full of firsts. Sable's first match, again, Austin's first title reign. First time you got to see, Tyson in the WWE as anything. And it was my first WrestleMania that I actually watched. I didn't get to watch it when it happened, but a few months later, I had my best friend. He recorded all the pay-per-views with his dad. He was a huge wrestling fanatic, so it was nice to be surrounded by wrestling fans going into high school. But, wrestling in the 90s was great, and I'm pretty sure this is my last WrestleMania that takes place that early. That takes place during this era, but the Attitude Era influenced me in ways. Austin influenced me in ways, and I really don't think if Austin would have lost this match, I would be watching wrestling. I really don't think I would have. But it is how it went, and I'm happy it went how it went, and getting to see Steve Austin as the champion was great. And I miss those days. I really do. With the state of the WWE, which tomorrow I will have my State of the WWE address. Please look out for that. I have few topics I'm covering. It's all WrestleMania related for the most part. It can all be tied into WrestleMania. So this was my review of WrestleMania 14 on my Road to WrestleMania series, episode 6. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all who did watch that. If you like this video, hit the like button. I stumble a lot, I jump around, but I never claim to be the greatest at this. I'm just a guy who loves to talk about wrestling. And I'm planning for several people to join me for my WrestleMania review in 4 weeks. Can you believe it? We are 4 weeks away from WrestleMania. Anyways, follow us on social media, hit all that, hit the like button. I'm Zach, YoBro Gaming and Review Channel, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Adios! Cena is doing a job, and he helped elevate him in this match. And I know I'm going to get a couple comments where I'm a Cena sucker. I suck Cena's dick because I'm not bashing John Cena. You don't bash John Cena, you're not cool. Well, I guess I'm not cool, am I? Because I'm not bashing someone who does their job and does it well. Look, there was a time when I would have hated on John Cena, but that's not me no more, because I know how well John Cena performs in matches.